the workbench. I will take you through it and then I will show you the bigger picture when we're all sorted out. Now, when I got this originally, all we had was literally the wooden strut here going up. A single bar, if we can zoom in. There's got so much stuff on it you can't really see, but a single bar as support across the top. This was not here. It was just wood across the top and the little support part underneath. So what we've done, starting at the end, because I've added some bits today, is we have added a part for metal files. So you put some screws in, got brand new metal files today. These are on flathead screws, so you can unhook it and you can just pop it back on again. We have a spare hook here, and this one, if I come in close, we've used a screw with a rim, because that way, as you can see, it stops the level falling off. If these are to fall off, which they won't, they're metal files, it's fine, but this has got obviously 3 levels in, so we need to keep it protected. Have a little hook bit on the end here for hooking things, and then inside, if we move this out of the way, he says one-handed, there we are. You have a fire extinguisher hook here, nice and solid, so you can hang very heavy things on there. In fact, what we probably could do, no, let's put that there, right. Okay, we'll put that back there for a minute. Right, so on here we have a hook, and in here we obviously have all our wood files, and then what I've done underneath is obviously I've screwed this lid in, so moving this, let's just take that off. That's too big for that, I think. Right, you've got the jar comes off, and the jar goes back on again. And then this one is a little slide out tray, see, 2M Genius, got little lock things in, and then that just slides back on itself, and as you can see, it is flush, so you cannot see it from the top. Then moving along a bit further, of course, the highly essential screw, bolt and nut measurer. Again, a little rim screw on this one, because that way this goes on, it has a little lip so it doesn't fall off. The supports in the middle had a gap, because there's obviously 2 of them, so it has a gap, so it's useful to make a wide shelf in this regard. And then with this, of course, the drill goes down the middle and it's held on by the battery because it won't fit through the hole. The other thing we have this side is one of these long rulers. Now we keep these in plastic because I had some of these in the car, took them out of the plastic, toolboxes rubbing up and down them, wore the paint off so I had to get another set. Now the other thing, of course, I had was when we had the copper grease spray and the GT85 spray, and we were using that all the time, it used to sit on the top of the workbench and then it used to fall off because I was jiggling it about bumping and picking locks. So I got a couple of pipe brackets from work. And what I did was I did this so they are held in place, and then that way, you see, they're not going to fall off. You just slide them out and slide them back in again. And a little inspiration from the daughter, who did me many post-it notes, one for each day of the year. So that one says, "You've got this," so that goes there to keep me inspired. And then obviously various things here. Now you come round to the other end, and I've put 2 little hooks here. See, these are magnifying glasses, 0.5, and these are 1.5 magnification, but they are also tinted, so they're easy just to get when I'm working, doing close-up work. And then under here, as you can see, I put 2 gold hooks that then hold your metal saw. I'm doing a lot of metal work recently, so you've got your saw for sawing metal there, and then through there you can see on another fire extinguisher hook I've got the rivet gun. There we are, you see, so that hangs down there, it's quite heavy. And then a little scan me. So if you have a computer, scan me now, come through to the YouTube channel. And a bit of 2M security branding. And then round this side, what I have done is, starting at the top, I got some of these brackets from work, so I'm going to get thrown away. I've basically put this, I put on here, because if I'm going somewhere and I need a few screws of a particular type, I use this as like a little odd screws bag for specific jobs. So I've got a job to do next week. I need the rim screws like we showed at the end, so I will put them here so I'll know that that is a specific type of screw for a specific job. Keep it separate from everything else. And then I put different keyrings and loop things on for hanging stuff on. Under here, as you can see, I've got 2 more rulers hanging down, so we have 3 in total. There's a hook here, not used yet, and there's a hook here holding this big heavy clamp in place. And then as we come down here, I was delighted with this because I got this off the end of a pallet, and obviously these parts were all in one, so I cut it down a bit, I filed it, made it all smooth and nice, and then I put hooks on here, and there's a hook here, and there's a hook here, and they're all very heavy duty, and it's made it absolutely solid. So you have this big shelf on top that you can see is being used, and then you have two little sections here and here. So that generally is it to a point, but then when you come up, ignore the blurb and the shadowing. Here's come over here. So what you have here, you see, is one very solid workbench. You can see I've sanded, I've cut, I've drilled, I've painted, I've done everything on here. This is a very solid piece of wood, and this was the top of a pallet box. It came in two halves, so I cut this down, sanded it round, and a big difference is rounding these corners off. It's a small thing, but if you're smacking into the corner with your hips or your leg when you're walking past it, then rounded corners look nicer and they are more effective. Yet, because I have it up against the wall, because it will potentially be up against the wall, I've not rounded these, I've left these deliberately. Now, this part, of course, if I'm banging, cutting, drilling, or doing heavy duty work that may potentially damage the wood, you've got a nice solid lump of metal here that's screwed in as a permanent base for doing more heavy duty work on. This is my sort out pile. These are good. These are our 2M security pens, because they have a torch on one side and a touchscreen stylus on another side. Oh, sorry, on the other end, and then torch obviously this end. And then these bits, obviously, these are, I'm working on projects at the moment, you'll see later. I've got to mend this for somebody because it's come off. I'm going to mend that for them. So that is basically the workbench. But if you stand by while I straighten this all up, make it neat, I will show you it in situ where it lives in the room. So welcome back to the bigger view. So this is basically, I made this table by hand. Daughter made this for me for Christmas. It's amazing. Or Father's Day, I think. But anyway, I made the table by hand, and this was an amazing gift from number one daughter. As you can see, this is my standing area. This is where I will stand up at the workbench and do work. Essential toolbox there. Locks for picking underneath. As you can see, everything is easily accessible. And then as you walk round this side, of course, you have Gonk sitting in the chair, but this will be the chair that I would sit at if I was sitting down to do work this side. So potentially fixing this later. I'll be sitting at the table doing it. And then this is how it looks on the end. So I don't want to show me washing, but basically that's the angle from that side of the room. Ignore the washing, I moved out of the way. And then there we are. This is how it sits in the lounge. See, this is how you live with no technology.